Enough about red cells. Let's talk about leukocytes, which are white blood cells. So they're not nearly as common. So keeping in that same cubic millimeter of blood, you're generally going to have 4,000 to 11,000 per cubic millimeter of blood. So that still sounds like a lot, but it's not very many compared to 5 million. Now, white blood cells, these are actually cells. They do have a nucleus, and they do have organelles. And they do 5 different things as far as protecting the body. They protect the body from bacteria. That's a pretty obvious one. From viruses. Also fairly obvious. And here's where they get not as common here. Parasites. Since we live in a developed country, we don't see that a whole lot. But if you travel, on like a medical mission or go somewhere that's not particularly westernized, you may see some of that. And you also have them protecting against tumor cells. Again, to a certain degree, there's a lot of research trying to take advantage of this. And then they will help protect against toxins. So this is the defense system. There's an entire chapter on this later in the semester. So what do they do? Some of their characteristics. They have this characteristic called diapedesis. And if you think ped, see that part in there, PED. So think of this as walking. So some of these cells, they'll get out of the capillary and they'll crawl into the tissues. And so they can actually get out of the bloodstream and go, where they're needed. And they accomplish this through something called amoeboid motion. So if you've ever seen an amoeba or under a microscope, of course, or a video of it. So what they do is they take their cytoplasm, instead of being a nice round cell, what they're going to do is they're going to kind of get wavy. And this part is going to kind of stick to the new surface, and then it's going to pull the rest along. And then it does it again. So it juts out its cytoplasm and brings the rest on up. So think of it maybe like if you're down on your belly, kind of army crawling. That's sort of what that is. But diapedesis, that's an important word. Make sure you remember it. Then there's something else called positive chemotaxis. So these white blood cells, they don't just kind of wander around absently. The damaged cells that are already in the area, white blood cells or not, they release these chemicals that kind of serve like breadcrumbs. And we can call positive chemotaxis like a cry for help. So it says, hey, I'm injured, I'm damaged, I need help. I need you to come in and help me. So now we said the normal amount, 4 to 11,000. Leukocytosis means too many or more than normal. So anything over 11,000 now on would be considered leukocytosis, and it's an indication of something. It may be an infection or it may be cancer, but you will see this automatically, like on a lab value. It'll just be a number between like 4 and 11. Like they don't put the thousands on there. They just assume you know that. So if you're looking at lab values. So when the body comes under attack, it gets busy quick. And so the number can double or triple really, really quickly. So This is table 18.7. This is in the book. These are our different types of white blood cells. We'll talk about these individually. We'll talk about them more in lab, but they look really weird, and there's a reason for that.